I'm Colin, and this is Doubling Down, and I'm going to tell you why Vinny's making a mistake this weekend for the Derby prep with a single. And one of my favorites for the Kentucky Derby is actually running this weekend and not on my ticket.
And I'm Vinny, and I have a single that is not the morning line favorite in the Holy Bowl.
What's up, everybody? Colin and Vinny here on your favorite show, Doubling Down. We put together daily double tickets for the sport of horse racing, and this weekend we have Kentucky Derby preps. Last weekend we had Pegasus. We have a contest in the app, doubling-down.glide.page. SureBet Coffee is our sponsor this month, Vinny. I bought some yesterday after the cold and the snow. I had to get something to warm me up, and they give back money to aftercare for horses. So we're super excited to have them along. Stick around at the end. We're going to show you how to sign up, how to play, and how to win. Vinny, this is our tickets. Single Vinny's back. We love Single Vinny. I'm Spread Colin for those that are new to the show. I'm going to go 2-6 with the 3-7. The ticket will cost you $4. Vinny's going 2-6 with the 10-11. And he decided to use a single. And I think, Vinny, that you're using that single because of bias and not using your brain. So we will talk about that when we get to it. First things first, though, is leg one of our daily double. This is for Saturday, January 31st at Gulfstream Park. We'll bring up the past performances brought to you by Race Lens, field of 11. This is race number 11, a mile and the 16 on the turf. The Swedish Chant Fillies, 3-year-olds. Vinny, I thought that this was a really competitive edition of this race. I did not feel like there was a lot of pace in this particular race, and I think that is probably going to have to play into people's decision making as they try to put together their daily double here. Did you feel as well that it was a really competitive race?
Yeah, I thought it was competitive. I was actually hoping to go a little shorter here, but I ended up I don't really love the morning line favorite in the 8, so I went away from the 8 and I spread a little bit here, just trying to create some value. So yeah, and I agree with you. I don't think there's a ton of pace in this race. I do think there's some, but it's a lot of the pace I think is from horses like the like I feel like the 5 like day to day is going to try to go to the early lead. Even the 4 like the 3 and the 4 both have like both usually are kind of closer. So I just wasn't thrilled with the pace with where I think the pace is coming from, which is also why I spread a bit. Um, I just thought this was going to be I thought it was a nice competitive field, and I wanted to try to get some prices.
Yeah, I'm going to use some prices as well. Where to start? Where to start? The number 8 is the horse who is coming in with a really nice winning streak, right? 4 in a row,
Yeah.
somewhat increasing speed figures. Mario Gutierrez stays aboard. Source says a sire of Munnings is 1-for-1 at Gulfstream Park, 1-for-1 at the distance. 2-1. I just thought that the race was so competitive that, like, absolutely, when I went through it without the morning lines like you do, they weren't out when I handicapped the first time, and I absolutely could see. I'm like, okay, this horse is going to be a low price. I felt like there was enough other options at some pretty more attractive prices that I would like to take a shot at. The first one that I was interested in was the number 2, Surprise Ending. This horse has only raced once, but I like the fact that the style of that race, right? Fifth, dropped back a little bit, was only 2.5 lengths behind, and really closed really nicely down the stretch. That race was also January 4th, which was attractive to me. Tyler Gaffleone and Brendan Walsh. In the stretch, Vinny, this horse is actually kind of thrown off stride. You're going to see the horse coming on the outside, the number 4 here, and the 6 is going to come out right there, and the 4 gets bumped a little bit. And, nothing major, but as a first time starter, right, you kind of have to keep that in mind that, yeah, it wasn't major, but as a first time starter, that having in the stretch to me gave me a little bit more attraction to the number 2 Surprise Ending as well. And at 8-1, I was absolutely interested in that horse. Brendan Walsh does really well with horses' second career start on the turf. Racelands shows that for you right off the bat. 19% positive ROI. It's 121 starts, so it's not a small sample size. He got average speed, obviously only one race, but number one has shown some early speed pace. Uh, horse that's going to be up early in a race that I didn't feel that there was a lot of pace. So why not take a shot? Number two, surprise ending. I think you had it on a ticket as well.
Yeah, I did too. I love the jockey move. Upgrading to Tyler. I feel like Tyler and Walsh are very solid together, and Walsh is another, like you said, he's very solid with these second time starters. And encouraging to see a first time starter win when the horse doesn't get an ideal trip. I mean, he was shuffled back early, and then he went wide, and you saw he got bumped in the stretch, and he still, I mean, he won going away. So I think an improvement second time out, he's going to be tough to beat here. So, or she's going to be tough to beat here. Um, so yeah, that's where I landed too, as well as to start this ticket.
You went a lot wider than me, so why don't you talk about some of the other ones that you were interested in?
Yeah, I mean, we both had I believe we both had the number 6 on our ticket, the other Lynch horse with Saez aboard, and yes, like finished third behind the stablemate who's the 8 last time out, but I just thought this horse was progressing nicely. The two back, okay, like I'm trying to just drawing a line through that, just not was just not her day. And she was a 2-year old though, but then she came back as a 3-year old and ran a very, very good third. I thought that was a very nice improvement to see. I like when they show improvement as a from their first start as a 3-year old. So that was kind of my logic for throwing this one on the ticket. I like Saez. I think it's a jockey upgrade from what she's had before. She gets Saez today. Another one that should be a decent price. Definitely will be the higher the price of the Lynch horses. I also went to the outside a little bit. Brad Cox with Irad Ortiz, the number 10 aggressive line. She's 2 for 3 lifetime. First time racing at Gulfstream, but I thought again race that didn't have a lot of pace in it. Uh, she was very close. Her 2 wins, she's been very close up to the pace. She was a length back. She's had a length back a little bit in her last race. Her maiden win, she basically went gate the wire. She battled for the lead a bit. So another horse that in a race that doesn't have a ton of pace that I thought could maybe get an aggressive trip by Irad. Irad was on her last time out as well, so he's back here, which is always a good sign when you see jockeys like Irad retaking him out on horses stepping up in company. So I thought the number 10 was worth a shot. I know you didn't use her. Uh she did improve speed figures though. We do like to see the improving speed figures, 78 to 78 and then the 82. Not a big improvement, but still an improvement. And then I went to the outside with the number 11 Spirit Doll as well for Safi Joseph, and the broke she broke her maiden at Saratoga, came back, did not have that second start was just not good. It was in the spin away, it was on the dirt. She came back after that race though, and Safi put her on the turf. She won. She won here at Gulfstream, and now she's going to make her 3-year-old debut. Uh, Good sign in my opinion. They tried the dirt, didn't work for stepping up in company, so they throw her in. They threw her back on the turf, and she won this race impressively, in my opinion. Again, you see here, she wasn't the favorite. She was 7-2, and like she wins this race with ease. She goes on to win by a little over 6 lengths. Brid's first start as a 3-year-old. If she improves, that's kind of what you're hoping at this point when they're two debuting as 3-year-olds, that they're going to improve off their best 3-year-old effort. If she improves off that race, she's going to be very tough to beat in here. She's on the outside, another horse who has shown speed in a race where, she's breaking from post 11, which isn't great at Gulfstream, but in a race with not a lot of speed, if she breaks well and Sayas can move her inside, so she's only like in like the 3 or the 4 path on that first turn, I don't think it's the end of the world. So that's where I went with my 4 horses.
Yeah, the outside scared me off. I'm still scared by Tiz the Law on turf. I don't know. I see it and it kind of just immediately makes me double check the numbers. I know you're not supposed to, you take each horse individually, but it was something where I know on the next leg I had some short prices that I wanted to figure out how to maneuver putting the ticket together. So as I mentioned, you mentioned that I used this Six Storms Wake as well. Uh, I really was impressed by the finish in that last race, and I'm hoping that the extra little distance there is going to fit right what Storms Wakes wants. Sean Patrick Nolan, Oscar performance, baby. So hopefully, shout out to Sean. He'll see. Anytime we see an Oscar performance get in the winner's circle, Sean gets the wings and the bell. So Storm's Wake, Oscar performance. I thought that that last race, that stakes race coming back and having that race January 3rd uh, was going to be important. So we will use the 10 was next up that I left off on my ticket. So we'll try and get through with those two again. We'll give you a reminder. Here's the ticket. I'm going to go with the 2 and the 6. Vinny's going to go with the 2 and the 6 and the 10 and the 11. Stay right here on Doubling Down YouTube, not and Nessa Nation. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back to go through leg two, which is the Holy Bull Stakes. All right, Vinny. All right, Vinny. We're back for the Holy Bull Stakes. The Grade 3 Kentucky Derby points are on the line. Some big news today, Vinny, which I know you're upset about. Why don't we talk a little bit real quickly about Ted Noffey and how that impacts you and how it also impacts the Kentucky Derby Trail?
Yeah, you're the Kentucky Derby, the early Kentucky Derby favorite, your 2-year-old juvenile champion, Ted Noffey, ruled off the Kentucky Derby trail today with a bone bruise. He's maybe we'll see him this summer. They said they're going to send him back to the farm, give him 90 days rest, and kind of see where it goes from there. But it changes the Derby trail. He was a horse that was pointing here in the Florida circuit. He was going to point to the next prep, the Fountain of Youth, with the ultimate goal of the Florida Derby. So it kind of opens up the Florida circuit a bit. He was undefeated and won each race pretty handily. Said he was the juvenile champion. So kind of upsetting when a horse of that caliber goes down this early in the Derby trail. But hopefully we see another couple horses kind of step up and take his place. We've seen some good performances so far. So hopefully we see one this weekend and we're just like, okay, well, maybe this horse could be your Derby favorite.
Yeah, you see the standings there shaken up. Certainly, Ted Noffey comes off. Mr. AP comes off. Horses that are running that Breeders' Cup Juvenile getting some points, and there's Golden Tempo, one of our horses on our show 2 weeks ago, who we were high on for Sherry DeVoe. So what I have to say about this is that I was really disappointed to see the news, but from a betting standpoint, I think it really opens up this year's Kentucky Derby like a lot more. Like Ted Noffey was kind of I don't want to say he was the sovereignty, but he seemed to be head and shoulders at least about above the others that we've seen so far. So taking him out of the mix, I think
Yeah,
really like Paladin's going to be a force, Renegade, and there's some other ones on here, but I felt like he was, to me, he was head and
yeah,
shoulders
he
above. But
was.
there
Yeah,
there's a horse here in race 12, Vinny, who is actually was, I would say right now, my top Derby pick. That's the Gun Runner half Cannoneer, trained by Brad Cox with Irad Ortiz aboard. Earned a 99 speed figure last time out at Churchill, 7 furlong race, showing some really good energy. I was impressed by that. This is a $1.7 million horse. That doesn't mean that you can put them in the winner's circle, as we've seen over the years. The dollar sign does not necessarily equal results, right? Um,
Yep.
and but this is one that I'm really high on. You could see the dam there, catch the moon on the dirt, 22% win percentage, 57% in the money. Of course, Gunrunner really spiked up those numbers, but I found that on Race Lens. I'm not going to use Cannoneer on my ticket, and it's killing me. I'm telling you, it's killing me. And I'll give you the reason in a second. But Vinny, you're using a single by the name of Incredible,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you can go ahead and talk about him. And then I'm going to tell you why and tell all
I
the viewers why in the beginning why I think that this may be a good play against. And I like Incredible. I'll give you
Yeah.
that.
If he was the favorite, I would be playing against him. I This is strictly a like this is a I do like him. I think this race I honestly think this is a two-horse race between him and Cannoneer. And for value purposes, I went with Incredible because I think Cannoneer, like you said, he is very highly touted. He is going to be very heavily bet. I don't think we get anywhere near the 2-to-1 morning line on him. I think he is going to be more in that 3 to 5 range. And I didn't want to take that heavy of a favorite stretching out for the first time. If he beats me, he beats me. I like the horse, just not for this double purposes. I just feel like he's going to be super over bet, which landed me on Incredible, who has been near the top of my Derby board all year so far. The win in the street sense was very impressive. Riley Mott's still a relatively like newish type of trainer. This is kind of new territory for him to have a horse of this kind of caliber. So the horse has done nothing wrong though. He's run very, they started him at 6 furlongs, clearly too short for what his pedigree is. Comes back at a mile at Churchill, wins easily. Comes back in a mile and a 16th in the Grade 3 Street Sense, which is a race that Sovereignty won last year, uh, and won easily. This is a good starting point for him for a 3-year-old year. Maybe he doesn't win, but I'm effort. He's been working very well in the mornings. So, yeah, I landed on Incredible knowing I'm going to get value out of him.
I have to do a mea culpa real quick because I got my preps mixed up this weekend, and Cannoneer's not the half to Gunrunner. That was the horse that was running at Aqueduct. Cannoneer's the half to Midnight Bourbon and Gervin. So I got them mixed up
Mm.
there. But so those two horses are the ones that padded the stats for Catch the Moon. But I thought in my head when I was saying that, do I have the right horse? And I did not. So apologies for that one. But hey, being a half to Midnight Bourbon and a half to Gervin, not as good as Gunrunner, but not as bad. And at Aqueduct, they had to cancel the racing. Oaklawn, the week's been a kind of a mess for me up here in New England, getting over almost 2 feet of snow and,
Oh yeah.
and school being canceled. So my brain's a little not always, not at least right now, all in the right spot. So I apologize for that mistake on Cannoneer. However, Vinny, this horse hasn't raced since October. It has been on the work tabs. Okay, I'll give you that and showing the work
Mm.
tabs. These are kind of those little spots that I was talking about in the open that I might try to find a horse who's got that race under them this year and maybe a little bit more fit, right? Kind of talked about it with some horses that are eyeing bigger things. And the Holy Bull for Incredible, I don't think is the end game of where they're hoping to land with this horse. So that to me, this might not be the day that he's coming out to just give his best. And I think against this field, I question if he's not at 100%. I don't think he's that much better than everybody else. So that's why I decided to kind of look for some other spots here. Obviously, I talked about my affection for Cannoneer, but I like Nearly in this spot, man. I'm telling you, the Centennial Farms. I texted my man Sean today, and I said, Sean, how are they feeling at Centennial? Because he'll give me the true, he'll say, he needs a race, or they love him in this spot. And as Sean mentioned to me, he goes, Johnny V went down to Gulfstream on that November 22nd day to break this horse's maiden. Last time out, going 7 furlongs, the horse won by 5 furlongs. Don't forget, watch the break for the number 6 on the outside here. That is Nearly. And this horse gets checked pretty hard out of the right here. I mean, I don't want to say almost goes down, but that's a misstep and it quickly falls behind this, 4-horse field. I know it's a 4-horse field, but like I said, that's that
Yeah,
race off the bench, getting off the bench after the race in November, and really makes easy work of this field, which I hope he would. And I know that's going to be your knock, and I'm waiting for it. I could see you shaking your
yeah.
head, and that's
I
okay.
just I
Uh,
thought this race was I just thought this race was so bad.
it's
On paper, it looked
it's a
bad.
it's a paid workout, Vinny. Just think of it as a paid workout,
Yeah. It
and
I guess I guess it just like I don't know. There was a couple horses that were in that race that scratched out of it that have yet to come back. Um, it just I don't know. I don't I just don't love this one. I don't love like I know it's a not this time, and they've been absolutely red hot. I don't love the mine shaft dam. I just like there's not like this seems like one of those. This seems like one of those Pletcher horses that is an allowance horse, and I don't think he's a stakes horse. But we'll see. You're going to
all
get a
right.
price on him though because of Cannoneer. So again, I can't fault you for that because he's 9 to 5. I think you're going to get every. I think you'll get more than 9 to 5 on him because of Cannoneer.
I'm gonna get the price, and you're gonna get the text from me and Sean when
Yeah,
Nearly blows them
that's
by
fine.
and takes them out.
That's fine.
Uh, I'm gonna take another shot here too. So I had to do that game of, well, if I use Cannoneer, I have to single, just like you did with Incredible. Part of my in using Nearly, who I know is 9 to 5. Man, Project Ace. Have you watched this horse's replays? Because there's
Yeah,
a horse at the back of my head whose picture is right here, actually. All right, and I'm not comparing him to the wonderful Zenyatta, of course. I'm not comparing, but the way this horse closes in these races, I mean, he's the number 3 here, all right, all the way in the back. I mean, this is exactly what I thought of when I watched this because, he starts picking off those horses one by one, and even coming down the stretch right here, we'll back it up right here, gets that rail ride. These are the last 2 races this horse has run like this, and 2 race back just didn't get there. Even here, I'm like, oh, he's not getting there. He's not getting there. And man, this horse finds it in the stretch. And I have an affinity for these horses. It's like Zenyatta, I Want Revenge. The ones that I can think of the closing like this. Look at this, Vinny. I mean, this is
yeah. He
another.
makes my issue is that it's Gulfstream.
Yep.
A
Okay.
weird spot to run him in my opinion. I said the same thing about Sovereignty last year,
Well, he was cross
and
centered.
yeah, because he failed. Like I said the same thing. I remember when we did this show about Sovereignty last year in the uh
Fountain of Youth.
which race did he come back and lose? No, in the Florida Derby when he came back in the Florida Derby,
Oh,
and like we had talked about it before. It's like he's a horse that wants something to run into, and Gulfstream is a track that carries front end speed. Just very, very hard for these horses to make up that kind of ground. That said, though, you're going to get 25, 30 to 1 on him all day. I mean, I think everybody loves these type of horses. They come from, nothing to something. That was part of the reason with even Golden Tempo that we talked about earlier.
yep.
Like, that's what Golden Tempo did. He went from last and he passed everybody late.
Look at
Like,
this.
that is, yeah,
Traffic, ducks to the rail. You're like, no way. No way he's going to get there. Even has some trouble there, has to hold up. And then when they let him loose, I mean, just gets beat by the horse
yeah.
on the outside.
But
He's
it's,
actually on the inside. He lost this race. The camera's at an angle that makes him look like he
yep.
won, but
Uh,
very
yeah.
interesting.
I think he is like one of those horses in this race where you play like you key him in like an exact or something. I mean, if he wins, great. But like if he wins, you don't want to be wrong. So like he wins, you kind of key him with you key him with most of the field because you're gonna get 25, 30 to 1 on him. And like even for a buck, you spend like $5 keying him with the other logical horses, and you hope that he runs first or second, and you make him make 100 to 1 on your exacta. Like I think that makes I think he makes a ton of sense in that logic. And same with the double. I mean, you get him home in the double, and that double is going to pay. It's going to be $100 plus if he wins.
Well, you know what's going to
Doesn't matter
happen,
who
right?
wins the first leg.
He's Yeah, well,
He's going
he's
to
gonna
win.
win. He's gonna win, and I'm gonna miss the first leg because
It's the first leg.
you're gonna
Yeah,
have the 10, and I'm not gonna have the 10, and that's what's gonna
yeah.
happen.
So like, yeah. So like, I mean, hey, like if he does that, I mean, he will quickly become a fan favorite if he closes the Holy Bull. If he closes in a Derby prep like that, I mean, I still think there's people that think that sudden breaking news from like 5 years ago was going to win the Kentucky Derby after he did that in the Southwest.
It's like my boy Pyro. Remember Pyro as well? That was another
Yep,
monster
Pyro. Yeah,
closer.
closers are always fun. So yeah,
Especially when they
I
run
can't
like
fault.
that.
Yeah, can't fault. I can't fault you there. I do. I am hoping for for the Derby Trail going forward that we do see good efforts from both like Incredibolt and Cannoneer, even if they don't win, as long as they are encouraging efforts and like this race comes back well. I'm hoping that we have a couple like main players here on the Derby Trail. Um, because like I feel like what's gonna happen is like if Incredibolt wins here or Cannoneer wins here, we probably don't see him again till the Florida Derby.
Mhm.
Is just probably what's gonna happen.
Go into the app, doublingdown.glide.pages. We have free picks there for you. It's sponsored by SureBet Coffee. Check them out. The winner this month will get some coffee, a tumbler from them. Every sale helps horses. They give $1 to aftercare. They are an excellent small business that we want you to support. Hit that doubling down, hit that subscribe button below as we launch our new channel here on the Doubling Down YouTube channel. We have plenty of shows and content. Me and Vinny are really excited about that. If you're watching on Nessa Nation, swing on over to YouTube and give us a like. Until next time, I'm Colin. He's Vinny. Good luck, everybody.